What's going on, everybody? I finally found something to make a video about. I've got a couple of things to talk about today. I haven't had anything to make a video about because, to be honest with you, a little backstory. I started out because I started a Facebook in 2007, and I was a catastrophe adjuster for Safeco Insurance, so I traveled all around the country. I ended up with a Facebook with 5,000 people that I had actually met in person. So that's a pretty valuable asset. During, say, 2014, 15, and 16, and 17, a lot of people, your watchmen, that's how I met a lot of them. That's the reason some of y'all who've talked to me, I've got experience with a lot of the watchmen and some of the watchmen that are not around anymore. Because they come through Facebook and they ask me to share their posts and tag my followers, which I became friends with some of them because I had to really look into them before I, shared their information to try to find out as best I could, if they were a wolf or something before I shared it. Unfortunately, there were several that I shared that I didn't realize till after the fact that were, but I've been through a lot of growing. And recently, I had found myself, I'm telling you all this because if there's anybody out there that's dealing with any of this, you might find something in common. I started finding myself a little nervous, not really scared, but nervous about the rapture. I refer to it now as spiritual abuse. There had been so much beat into me about the Bema seat, and how pretty much I felt like I had messed up. I've spent my time doing this and doing all this research, and I should have been out spreading the gospel, and I'm going to have to go through a Bema seat judgment and meet Jesus face to face. Oh my goodness, I wish I had worked on the personal relationship and not worried about any of this other stuff, because now I know a lot about this other stuff, and I've got a relationship to where I'm still nervous to stand in front of my God for my judgment. It had me so worried. Well, I found a group of people that I started watching some videos of and interacting with that have been really supportive, and to help me get through all that, to help me realize that it's Christ in you. So while I've been struggling and asking for prayer, I know that Christ is in me. I know He's always with me, and I'm never alone. But when you don't have someone flesh and blood to hug from time to time, it gets hard. But thank you, Jesus. He gives me God winks, which is like a little hug from Him all the time. Alright, well anyway, to the people that call me escapist, yes, you know what I'm trying to escape? This right here. This happened where I live, Bentonville, Arkansas, home of Walmart. This man, a road rage incident, his name was Daniel Davison. He got shot, road rage incident, in front of a coffee shop. Typical dudes, they got in an argument, they decided to pull over. One got out of the car and started running towards the other one because he was ready to fight, and the other dude shot him and killed him in front of his wife and his child. Alright, here's the story. Here's the guy. You notice the first comment up under there, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Everybody's talking about a stand your ground law. And yes, we have a stand your ground law. A lot of states have a stand your ground law. And I'm pro 2A, gosh, more than anybody, especially since the first and the fourth are gone. But that's another topic altogether. But it really should be proportionate to the threat. I mean, you pulled over and engaged somebody. Just because they run at your car, don't pee in your pants and kill them. And the mind-blowing part is society, the majority of the comments on there, 1.7 thousand comments, are like this: play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The guy had an arrest in 2017 for family violence. Family violence can literally be anything from yelling in a parking lot to beating someone with a baseball bat. It can literally range from that. Nobody knows what happened. Not to mention it's 2017. And what does that have to do with this? But everyone has pulled up this guy's past and they're trashing it. And if you look here, see Daniel Davison, the second comment? That's his wife that was with him when he was shot. She's commented all over this. Look, she's got 92 replies to that, and every single one are trashing her and telling her how much she deserved it. How much she deserved it. That's the society we live in. People just want somebody to pay a price. They really don't care what it is. I saw a story yesterday at a Marshall's. Someone opened a door for someone else, and the person didn't thank them for opening the door. So the person that had opened the door chased the person down, arguing with them and cussing them out because they did not apologize or say thank you for opening the door. Well, it ended up the woman waited for her outside and shot her and killed her because she didn't say thank you for opening the door. That was somewhere in the Northeast. And then there was a story in New Jersey of some people standing in line at a checkout, and the person thought the person in front of them was taking too long. They got in an argument at the checkout. The person went out to their car that was in line before. The person behind them bought a pack of knives from the counter. He walked outside while he took them out of the package, walked to the car, and stabbed the person to death. Y'all, this is the world we live in. I don't think people care about right or wrong. They just want somebody to pay. People are angry and they want to take it out on somebody, or they want to see somebody else hurt. I'm tired of this evil world. With the things I know that I can't even make videos and share because I'll automatically be considered something I'm not, because people won't research. They'll just listen to preachers. And we're going to stay at that point until something is given to them to let them know, it's frustrating. It really is. Because I'm listening to people worship false gods in the name of Jesus. I'm listening to people still putting prophecies together based on doctrine that have already failed. A lot of these prophecies that everyone's looking for have already failed. The doctrine of the Left Behind movie is not going to happen. That is out the window. Even though the news is still giving you that through Donald Trump, that's not happening. What is happening is still prophecy. For the people left behind, I feel so sorry for them. I feel bad that I wasn't able to make a video explaining exactly what I've found so they'd have a little jump start once we're gone. But unfortunately, I live in a society where my own brothers and sisters won't allow me to do that. So, here we are. Well, let's find something positive to talk about. I thought this was cool. Let's see here. So, let's go to the pictures. Alright, I saw Dabu, he had this morning. And everyone's talking about the Death Star. It's supposed to be some up-close pictures of 3-Eye Atlas. Well, he never mentioned it. I haven't heard anyone mention it, though someone might have. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness. And I took a screenshot of it and showed Sam. This is what I saw. I didn't see the Death Star. I saw that. Call it pareidolia, call it what you will. I call it a psyop. But I started looking this morning because I saw that people had posted that there were apparently a lot of pictures in the Vatican with UFOs. I knew there were pictures with UFOs, but I didn't know there was a lot of them. But apparently there's a lot of them. And in other cathedrals, other famous paintings from antiquity. So just the first one here, well, not the first one, but I'll pull up the one that I've done some research on. I haven't done research on the other ones, but this one was so much it was interesting. I have to use several AIs to find out information because I made ChatGPT mad. That's another video too, but if y'all don't think AI is on all the platforms, y'all are sadly mistaken. Just make it mad, say their own thing, ask their own questions, connect their own dots and see what happens. So anyway, I'm using AI, but I have to use several AIs because they lie to me. They lie to everybody, but they really lie to me. It's amazing. I'll ask it something and get Sam to ask it something, and it's mind-blowing. So anyway, look at these pictures. How's the first one? That's supposed to be the baptism of Christ with a UFO instead of the God and the dove descending. This one, a house on fire with a UFO. Jesus, UFOs. This is the one I've done research on because it piqued my interest because of the comet there. Because you got an 8-pointed comet there, and that's Satan. Then right here you got a 7-pointed star on this one, as opposed to the 8-pointed star here. 7-point could represent redemption, it could represent Christ, it could represent their version of Christ, it could be the false prophet and the Antichrist, which I think will be spiritual, because this could be an angel in bondage, and this could be an angel in freedom. It could represent a lot of things. That I'll read through what I found on that shortly. I found this one. See the UFO right up here between the buildings up in the sky, shooting the laser down on the building, or down on that woman praying, I guess, through the building. And then, of course, you got your mother goddess worship and the UFO above her shoulder. I don't really know what this is. That's going to be interesting to do some research on. But anyway, right here, another UFO with a dove. Or the sun, yeah. Here's a dove with antennas on the world. How freaky is that? And look at this. That's like a dome. And it's inside. Do y'all know what that is? That's the Masonic playing board. This is the game board. This is Joaquin and Boaz. Square and compass. And then we're back to this. So anyway, let's go to what I found. Alright. I've taken notes out of the different AIs I've used, because I verified, what it was saying, and then sorry, I pulled the mic away. This mic sucks unless you hold it right in the right spot. So if y'all didn't hear that, I've went through several AIs, and I've got the highlights here that I have double checked through other AIs to see if I was getting the same information. So the fresco you've uploaded is absolutely loaded with layered symbolism, and it's not traditional Christian iconography. There are occult and esoteric and prophetic threads woven into the composition that speak deeper spiritual cycles and cosmic warfare. Crucifixion scene. Key elements: Jesus on the cross, Gabriel, Michael, the messengers, and the warrior. Their placement above the cross suggests celestial witness and enforcement of divine justice. The city walls of Jerusalem, symbolic of both earthly power and spiritual blindness and esoteric readings. Jerusalem often represents the heart of man, fortified but in need of spiritual breakthrough. Occult layer. The crucifixion is not just a historical event. It's a cosmic pivot. It's occult traditions. This moment is seen as a rupture in the veil between dimensions. The presence of the archangels implies that the battlefield between light and darkness, not just martyrdom. This is where things get wild. The left panel, red star with seated figure. Red star often associated with Mars, war, blood, judgment. In occult symbolism, red stars can represent fallen angels, celestial beings, or rebellion. Seated figure, possibly a representation of a soul in torment or a watcher. The seated position suggests containment, like being trapped in a celestial prison. Right panel, white star, seated figure. White star associated with Venus. Hey y'all, Venus is the morning star. Alright, but we need the bright and morning star, which is Venus as well. That's kind of one of the things in Scripture where Satan's like, oh yeah, I'm the morning star, and Jesus is like, yeah, well, I'm the bright and morning star. You know? I always thought that was funny. But anyway, right panel, white star, seated figure. White star associated with Venus, purity or divine illumination. In esoteric Christianity, isn't that something? It could represent the morning star, either Christ or Lucifer, depending on the context. Seated figure, this one feels more peaceful, possibly a redeemed soul or a divine messenger awaiting release. Duality symbolism. These two stars mirror each other. Red, white, judgment, mercy, rebellion, redemption. It's a visual echo of the wheat and the tares, sheep and the goats, and even the two thieves crucified beside Christ. Esoteric interpretation. The fresco may be encoding cosmic judgment, the crucifixion as a moment of universal reckoning, not just human salvation. Celestial beings being bound. The star figures could represent watchers or fallen angels, referenced in the Apocrypha text, like the Book of Enoch. Prophetic cycles. The dual stars may symbolize the coming separation. Those align with the truth and those align with deception. Sounds New Age, doesn't it? Color coding. Red and white are alchemical opposites. Sulfur and Mercury, masculine and feminine, war and peace. Star shapes. The geometric forms suggest portals or dimension gates. In occult art, stars often represent access points between realms. Seated posture. In spiritual iconography, seated figures often imply judgment. Waiting on enthronement. If you want, I can help you trace, and I'm like, okay. Let's look at something else. Okay, the crucifixion as a portal. This isn't just the depiction of Christ's death. It's a cosmic rupture. The cross is an axis mundi, the spiritual hinge between heaven and earth, time and eternity. Gabriel, Michael above. These aren't just witnesses. They're guardians of the veil. Gabriel, announcer of the birth, and Michael, warrior of judgment, frame the moment when heaven invades earth. Architecture of Jerusalem. The city walls suggest containment, spiritual blindness, religious systems, and worldly power. Resisting divine truth in occult readings. Sites often represent psyche or collective consciousness. The star panels, celestial beings or bound watchers? Question mark. These two panels are the real esoteric payload. Left panel, red star with seated figure. Red equals Mars equals judgment. The star may be... I'm having a problem reading, y'all. I'm dyslexic, but I learned how to read, I promise. Alright, let's try this again. Left panel, red star with seated figure. Red equals Mars. Mars equals judgment. This star may represent a fallen principality, a being cast down and bound. Seated posture. In ancient iconography, seated figures often implied enthronement or imprisonment. This could be a watcher from Enoch, a rebel angel awaiting final judgment. Star shape, possibly a Merkaba, or a cathedral gate, used in mystical traditions to represent interdimensional travel or spiritual containment. Right panel, white star with seated figure. Venus, white equals Venus. Illumination or deception, depending on context, could represent the morning star, Christ or Lucifer. Duality, the two stars may represent the two thieves, the spiritual paths, or even the two witnesses of Revelation, one aligned with truth, the other with rebellion. No, it's going to be the law and the prophets, I believe. Moses and Elijah. Alchemy and occult layers. The fresco is steeped in alchemical dualism. One element, red star left, white star right. Planet, Mars, Venus, alchemical, sulfur, active fiery, Mercury, passive, fluid. Spiritual role, judgment, rebellion, containment, illumination, redemption, deception. Bible echo, goat, Esau, Cain, sheep, Jacob, Abel. Sources. These associations are drawn from alchemical text, biblical typology, and cult symbolism. Prophetic meaning. Crucifixion equals cosmic reset, the moment. I like that word, cut off, the moment. Hey, it's the moment when spiritual authority shifted. Star panels equal future reckoning. These beings may be awaiting release, echoing Revelation 9, the bottomless pit, or Revelation 12, war in heaven. Duality equals final separation, wheat and tares, sheep versus goats, light versus darkness. The fresco may be a warning of coming spiritual bifurcation. Alright, look closely at the star shapes. They resemble interlocking triangles, which in occult geometry symbolizes the union of opposites, heaven and earth, spirit and flesh. This could be a visual macabre, used in Kabbalistic mysticism to represent the chariot of ascension. That's what it is, because we're dealing with people who read the Kabbalah and use the Zohar. Final take. The fresco isn't just art, it's spiritual map. It encodes the cosmic war between light and darkness, the containment of celestial beings, the prophetic separation of souls, the alchemical tension between judgment and mercy. Okay, cosmic drama, the crucifixion as a portal. Okay, we've already done that. It's giving us that again. Apparently I copied and pasted it again. Alright, I asked about this painting and how it aligned with the astrological alignments we have now. I never was really into space and all. I've seen probably 12 shuttle launches and probably 50 rocket launches because I lived in Melbourne for a long time and I have a lot of family that does. So it's like 30 minutes from Kennedy. So I've seen a lot of them. So I enjoyed that, but I never knew anything about space or celestial signs or anything about that. I know nothing about astrology or astronomy. So what I wanted to know is the astronomy of it. You know, if there's some connections, you know, that would go with what they use as far as astrology, but I don't know any astrology. So I needed some help on that. Alright. This month is packed with celestial phenomena that align eerily with the fresco's themes. That's the reason I saw that comment. For some reason I could not let that picture go. It pulled me in. Not because there's anything good about it. There was just something about it I couldn't let go. Alright. The Antares occultation. I hope I said that right. Around October 21st, the moon will eclipse Antares. We'll say it that way this time. The red supergiant in Scorpius, a star often associated with war, judgment, and the archangel Samuel. In esoteric lore, Antares is the guardian of the threshold, and its occultation suggests a veiling or containment of martial forces, much like the red star panel in your fresco. Orionid meteor shower, peaking the same week. This shower originates from Halley's Comet, a celestial messenger. The Orionids are tied to the hunter, Orion. The hunter, that's also Nimrod. A symbol of divine pursuit and cosmic justice. Mercury and Mars conjunction, war and communication. Meet the sky echoing duality and judgment and revelation. This mirrors the red-white star figures. And one bound, one illuminated. I do know, like, in Christian beliefs, I don't know whether you consider that Christian mysticism. I guess you would. Because, see, people don't realize this when they get into it and they start looking at the clock and it says 11:11 and oh, what's wrong with 11:11? Oh, what's Strong's 554? These things are useful as far as study. As far as getting angel numbers dropped in your head, that's the same thing the New Agers believe. The whole star seed thing. They're all about some numbers. That's numerology. So to go look up your number every time you see one on a sign or on a tag, I mean, I'm not saying God doesn't communicate that way, but you've got people now who are fully dealing in numerology and don't know it. Same with astrology. But anyway, that was off topic. I asked it to include thelemic beliefs because this is all connected to Aleister Crowley. And Aleister Crowley is the father of Thelema, they say, but he did not come up with it. It was already around and it's been used in the past. He was just giving it to birth it again. Alright, Thelema and celestial symbolism. But anyway, I was going to say in Christian mysticism, I guess it is, Mercury would be the messenger. Mars is Satan, but Mercury is the messenger, I believe. I think Jupiter is the king planet, and Venus is Christ? I don't remember. But anyway, Thelema and celestial symbolism. Thelema, founded by Aleister Crowley, is steeped in cosmic allegory and ritual timing. True will. Thelemites believe each person has divine purpose, so they believe in apotheosis, aligned with cosmic forces. Celestial events like eclipses and conjunctions are seen as portals and triggers for spiritual awakening. Key deities? Nut, the goddess of infinite space and stars. She is the night sky. Hadit, the point of consciousness, often symbolized as a hidden star or flame. Rahorkut, the solar warrior god, little g, of the current eon, linked to Mars and Judgment. Eon of Horus, the current spiritual age in Thelema, marked by individual sovereignty, spiritual warfare, and revelation. The frescoes crucifixion scene and celestial figures may represent the transition from Eon of Osiris, sacrifice, to Horus, will and war. Symbolic convergence. Alright, here's the convergence of everything that's symbolic in this. The element of the fresco, cosmic parallel to Thelemic interpretation. Red star with bound figure, Antares occultation, martial force veiled, containment of judgment. White star with seated figure, Orion meteor shower, Venus visibility. Revelation, divine pursuit, morning star. Crucifixion axis, Mars and Mercury conjunction, conflict of communication. Spiritual pivot, Archangel Gabriel and Michael. Celestial gardens of the threshold, and echoes of Rahorkut and Hadit. I don't know how to pronounce these things, y'all. I've heard them, but I always forget. So anyway, that was the final insight of this. But I thought that was pretty interesting, consider what they're doing with 3i Atlas, which is obviously they're not giving us the information for a reason. This whole government shutdown. I'll tell you what, when they stop taking taxes out of your paycheck, you can consider the government shut down. Until then, they're just BSing. I mean, come on, people. If they're still delivering your mail, the government's open. If they're still getting your Social Security check, there's no reason they shouldn't be able to do food stamps too. This is planned. This is all planned. What they plan to do is, I don't know whether they'll do it before or after, but they'll either seize essential items, and then people will go and just jump on the stores like 2020 with the toilet paper, except it'll be everything. Or, I released a video yesterday saying they were going to go for the essential assets in the next 7 days. Because of who it was that done the video, too many people were unresponsive to it. They will not give it a chance. And believe me, if I have to hear what or are you serious again, I could slap a nun. I mean, I'm so sick of hearing it. I mean, he is a joke to watch, but he wears a Knights Templar ring. He is one of them. The thing with him and Mike around the world, have y'all noticed Mike from around the world? All his stuff is connecting finally, but for years and years and years he'd say it, and it'd take forever to happen, or it wouldn't happen when he says, and everyone's like, oh, it's a lie, he's leading you down the wrong road. And it's true, he's leading you down the wrong road, because at the end he's going to give you the wrong answer to some of the same information you're getting. It's a psyop. But what people aren't getting is, if you're watching the news, the mainstream news, if you're not searching out individual stories yourself, and I'm not talking 1 to 10 a day, I'm talking if you're not looking through everything yourself, searching through overseas news sources for American news, then you're not seeing that everything is lining up. In the past, yes, we've had huge events that have lined up to happen, and then they don't happen. You know why they don't happen? For this moment right here. So everyone will sit back and still go trick-or-treating. There are so many movies telling you what they're going to do on Halloween night. Donnie Darko and Back to the Future are mirrors of each other at the movie theater. One says that Night of the Living Dead and The Last Temptation of Christ on one side of the matinee. The other side, it said something to the effect of Double Fright Night. Alright, then Back to the Future, when he hits the movie theater coming back in to 1986. I forget what the movies were playing, but they're related. The movies, when he hit the movie theater, it wasn't a movie theater anymore. It had on it Assembly of Christ. And then it had a sign on the wall that said salvation is free. So, you know, we could be in a situation where these people know more than they're letting on, and there is an actual day count that's been hidden from us that they know about. And there is. I know there is. There has to be. God does nothing without telling his servant, the prophet. Okay. That doesn't mean watchmen running around right now that are asleep. If they don't realize Donald Trump and what's going on, and I'm not talking just that he's evil, I'm talking about that he has been evil. He has always been evil. Nothing has changed. He's not a different person. I started out in 2015, I lost my entire family over Donald Trump. Fast forward to 2025, I still have no family. None of them have come and apologized. All of them have figured out Donald Trump by now. I have an uncle who was a senior vice president with Morgan Stanley, and he retired. Well, actually was pushed out and into retirement over a dispute because he wouldn't give to the Clinton campaign. He still can't see. He's put all his money in Bitcoin. He retired from Morgan Stanley. I told my mom, back in, 2022 or 2023, before I left Georgia, I said, well, if he put it in there, he's going to end up losing it. This week it dropped like 20 grand. Everyone's talking, oh, it's going to go up because it's not connected to the dollar. Y'all, the U.S. government, whoever's running this, I keep saying whoever, but it's obvious what's running. Now, the who behind the what, that's the question. But whoever's running this is not going to allow Bitcoin to be around. Do you really think they're going to do a central bank digital currency in every country, and then they're going to let you run around with Bitcoins and have private trade when they've set up this whole surveillance system? So Bitcoin will be seized or crashed. It's not going to last. Think about, during the Depression, they made gold illegal to own. I think it was 10 years in prison if you were caught with gold. So to think that it's asinine to think that Bitcoin will disappear, okay. If they can put you in jail for having gold and silver, they can do it for Bitcoin with no problem. And anything else. And as far as like we should have woke up earlier and stood up to this stuff, we'd have had to wake up 600 years ago. We had no chance. If y'all knew how much of the history was fake, have you ever asked yourself in all those videos of them building skyscrapers, walking around on the I-beams with nothing tied to them to hold them on it, why the wind ain't blowing? Like, seriously, go watch them build the Sears Tower and ask yourself, why is there no wind? How are they standing on an I-beam? Alright, then go pull up videos debunking it. And you'll find where people have tried to recreate standing on top of the building, much less walking out on an I-beam in Chicago on top of the Sears Tower. It's impossible. You cannot do it. If you knew the history behind the wars, some have happened, some haven't. And some have happened completely differently than we've been told. And now I'm watching that information disappear. Because I've been doing this a long time. Everyone I started this journey with, there is nobody left. There's not one person I can say, that person has been with me the whole journey. There's a couple on Facebook that every now and then will like a comment. But no one could hang with this because of the letdown of the constant dates. Because it was always about a date. I've never looked at it as about a date since right after I started. I started getting so depressed when a date would pass. And then I decided to start using them as time markers, like first downs in football. It's not the goal, it's just a first down. I'm not calling the rapture, I'm calling something. You know, because I can see when they're speaking, I just don't know what they're saying. And I'm hoping that if I can find them pulling off something huge, then I can find the rescue. Or it could be completely imminent, and it could be a rescue from the sudden destruction that comes from him. But either way, if I'm watching what they're doing, the more evil they get, the closer we are to there. And we're there. There's no way this can go on. This is not a situation of, gosh, it's going to be rough this spring. This is a situation of there's going to be no food this spring. So they're either going to have people here, and you get the scenario in your head about food, what's going to happen? Or the people aren't going to be here. And I think number 2 is the answer. Because they didn't build these camps in Guantanamo and places like that for no reason. They didn't put it in the center of the Everglades for no reason. They can do whatever they want. And they're passing laws steady to do whatever they want. What I'm doing right now is against the law now. But it's retroactive, so everything I've done is against the law. And you too. If they want to come after you with this Antifa law, anti-anything is Antifa. And you can go, oh yeah, whatever, all you want. Try them. See if they play it. Donald Trump Jr., the day of the inauguration, posted a video that said, if people come against them, they will be taken out of the way permanently. They left the video up for a couple hours and took it down. This is going to get nasty. Just tore down the wall of the east wing of the White House. Why would you do that? Like, why wouldn't you just build a little hallway, tear down the whole side of it, and you take an excavator and put a bucket through the roof? That's not how you do demolition for remodel. That's how you do demolition for demolition. That was a statement. That was a statement. He paved over the rose garden, and he made the announcement from the paved over rose garden. And then people in the comments, when I say something about it, they say, I had a guy tell me the other day that I was angry because I couldn't afford to build a ballroom with my own money. I said, no, I'm angry because other people can't see that if this was a real world with a real constitution, the White House being the people's house, you couldn't tear the side off of it and build your own ballroom because it's the people's house. You can't just tear out the side. They can decorate it any way they want. They can put in a bowling alley or a pool. You can pave over the rose garden. But to tear down the side of the east wing? Come on. I mean,
And it's not, like I say, it's not that I'm passionate about that. It's just so frustrating to watch people support the ones that are coming for them. The people that are supporting the ones coming for everybody are the ones that say they stand for the things that they're taking away. And eventually they're going to come for these people too. And there's going to be no one to stand up for them because they were the first line of defense. And when I say they should have stood up, what I mean is their energy should have been towards standing up if they were what they said they were. But it was not about conservatism or values you hold of small government or limited government, or if nobody's getting hurt, stay out of my business. If you're not hurting me and you're not hurting nobody else, I don't care what you're doing. Nope, everyone wants to be in everybody's business. Everyone wants to control everybody. Everyone wants to take out their anger on each other. Everyone wants to hurt somebody, and that's not God. That's not Jesus. That's not good. That's not something I want to be in. I'm not a citizen of this world. I don't care what happens with my citizenship. It does not lie in the United States of America. I was just born and given a Social Security number. My political affiliations and my patriotism ended when I found out that nearly 3,000 people were killed over a lie. And we're still suffering from that lie. Alright, one last thing. If you go watch the Grim Reaper video that Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, please don't sign up for an account. That's a honeypot too. Alright, look for it on Twitter. Alright, if you go find that, at the very end there are 3 trick-or-treaters. One in the middle is wearing a mask like a skeleton mask, and it's got the American flag on it, like Donald Trump's face is painted in his icon on Truth Social for his account. It says 9/11 on his face, the same thing on the guy with the little skeleton's face. I think they're telling us 9/11 is Halloween. Alright, well, anyway, thank y'all for who are praying for me. I'm praying for everybody. And when I say everybody, I just pray for all my brothers and sisters that are suffering or being persecuted, to please strengthen them and give them strength to walk in your ways and your glory, and to stay in the Spirit and live Christ in you. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Hey, hope to see y'all there. Talk to you later.